Are you constantly disappointed that the things you buy don't bring you lasting happiness? Do you feel like you're on a treadmill where happiness is just around the corner? If so, let me help you understand why. I've spent a great many years now studying the science of happiness. I look into what happiness is and what things cause it. I'm not a self-help guru. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to give you some tips and some advice so that you can make yourself happier. In one way or another, all of us want to be happy. We want to feel good. And not just only for feeling good, but because feeling good improves other things in our lives too. We're healthier, we're more productive, we have more friends. So happiness matters in itself, but also because it causes other things that we care about too. Self-help books sell in their bucket load because they don't work. Your likelihood of buying a self-help book is predicted by whether you bought one before. They give you very glib advice like be positive, but what's really important is being able to embed that in your daily practices. Is to actually do things that make you feel better. If we're going to understand what makes us happy, we need to understand first of all what happiness is. Now happiness is in our experiences, it's in what we do, it's in how we feel day to day. It's in the things that we find pleasurable on the one hand and things that we find purposeful on the other. And happy lives are ones that find the right balance between fun and fulfillment. It's not for me to tell you what that balance is, it's for you to work it out. I've got the sea in the background here. Now I know that everybody can't live by the sea, but looking out at a nice view is something that isn't quite as nice the 100th time as it is the first, but it's not far off. So if you can find things that draw attention to themselves in ways that continue to make you happy, you're going to feel happier longer term. Now we know that poverty makes people miserable, but that doesn't mean that getting more and more money is going to make you ever happier. In fact, you can reach a point where more money won't make you happier and actually might make you less happy if you're sacrificing some of the things that make you happy day to day in order to get rich. So if you're not seeing friends as much as you would like to, if you're not having good experiences and instead chasing the dream as it were, then that's probably not going to make you happier either long term or short term. We often think that a fantastic job is going to make us happier, and it might, but sometimes it doesn't. Because that fantastic job is only a fantastic job in theory. It's the one that we've always wanted, it's the one that our parents are proud of, our friends are jealous. But day to day, our experiences might tell us something quite different. We might have a bad boss, horrible colleagues, a terrible commute. And if that's the case, we really need to ask ourselves, what's perfect about the job? Let us think about how we spend our money. So often we buy stuff, thinking that the hit's going to last for a long time, but it doesn't, it wears off quite quickly. Experiences, on the other hand, especially with other people, continue to make you happy, not just in the experience, but in the stories that you can tell about them afterwards. So often it's better for us to do things than it is to buy things. Imagine buying a new phone, a really expensive phone. You think that's going to continue to make you happy because you're paying attention to the expensiveness of the phone. But actually, in using the phone, it's the functionality that matters. It doesn't really matter then whether it's the most expensive phone or the next most expensive. It's going to be a phone that you'll use, and you need to pay attention to the using it. We all need to pay attention to the doing and using of things and not our imaginations of how they're going to be. When we think about happiness as experiences over time, a considerable part of our experiences are in anticipation and in memory. It's not just in what we do, it's in how we imagine how we feel when we do it and how we remember it afterwards. And I think it's important that we keep that in mind because it will help you think about, for example, what kind of holidays to have. Try to have some really good experiences, that's an obvious thing to say, so that you can draw down memories afterwards. Perhaps less obvious is don't go away for too long, because the evidence tells us that we don't remember duration, we don't remember how long things last. So have sort of short, sharp experiences rather than one big, long, drawn out one. If you spent a little bit more time each day listening to music that you enjoy, you're going to be happier. If you got outdoors a little bit more, you'd be a little bit happier. If you spend a little bit more time with people you like being with, you'll be a bit happier. Helping other people, that's really good for us. That's actually a really selfish thing to do, to help other people. They feel good and we feel good too. All of these things that you can do just a little bit more of, that irrespective of how happy you are, irrespective of how much money you have or the house that you live in, you're going to be a little bit happier. One of the ways in which we can make better decisions about our happiness is to ask other people for some advice. But be careful who you ask. Don't ask those people who have expectations of you about the life that they think you ought to be leading, but rather look to those people who care about your experiences. Or maybe even ask people who've had the experiences that you might be thinking of having. We are different and people experience things differently, but we're often quite similar too. And if something felt good for someone like you, chances are it will for you too. All of us are trying to be happier, but we sometimes get it wrong. And there's lots of reasons for that, but principally it's because often we're living in stories about the lives that we ought to be leading and things that we ought to be doing, rather than paying attention to what actually makes us happy day to day. We need to strip away the stories of expectations on ourselves and of other people, and instead pay attention to the feedback that we get from the things that we do that bring us pleasure and purpose. And if you're finding that something is bringing you neither pleasure nor purpose, stop doing it.